A man's power is not found in what he projects, but in the quality of the field he quietly maintains. You can feel it in his presence, in his clarity, in his silence, not because he performs stillness, but because he tends it. This is what's called field maintenance, the sovereign art of keeping your signal clean, of tuning your internal resonance so precisely that the world around you recalibrates without effort or force. Now, this is not about ritual, it's not about performance, it's not about becoming spiritual. This is quite simply rhythm. It's governance, and it is coherence expressed through care. A coherent man doesn't wait for breakdown to reset his field. He doesn't let chaos accumulate before he breathes. He doesn't need collapse to remember his center because he lives as a custodian of the unseen. He understands that everything is either sharpening or softening his signal. Every thought, every room, every text message, every lingering emotion unprocessed. This isn't paranoia, it's precision, because when your architecture is clean, you don't tolerate debris. Most men tend to their car more often than their field. They know when the tyres are low, they hear the knock in the engine, they take it for a tune-up before it breaks down. But they let emotional residue build for weeks. They allow old conversations to echo unresolved. They stay in polluted proximity to people and tell themselves it's fine. And then they wonder why they sometimes feel heavy, unclear, and are reactive. You don't need to be spiritual in the New Age modern sense to maintain your field. You actually just need to be disciplined. Here are some of the unseen practices that maintain clarity. Ending conversations before they dilute. Clearing your space without ceremony. Stepping out of a room or a friendship or a relationship the moment you feel your signals start to fade. Leaving groups, threads, connections, associations, not with drama, but with decisiveness. Tracking the energy behind your yes and cleaning up the ones you gave from guilt or habit. Finishing thoughts, closing loops, releasing stale tension before it becomes structural. You don't have to make a ritual of any of this. You simply make it a rhythm. Because when a man walks through the world with a clean field, he sharpens others without saying a word, because his coherence speaks louder than his content, because his signal enters the room before he does. And those who are attuned can feel it, not as pressure, but as presence. But let me be clear about something. This isn't about perfection. It's about frequency hygiene. Just like you sweep the floor, you must also sweep your field. Just like you close the door behind you, you must close the energetic doors, the ones that you left ajar in old conversations, old relationships, old stories. You're no longer inside, because energy doesn't forget until you direct it, and an undirected field becomes chaotic. You don't need to meditate for an hour. Sometimes you just need to leave the building or stop replying or finish the thought you avoided 3 days ago or stand in silence instead of explaining yourself again. Sometimes you just need to sit in your chair, place your hand on your chest and ask, where am I leaking? And whatever answer arises, you act. That's field maintenance. A sovereign man builds nothing on top of distortion. He doesn't pretend he's okay when he's not. He doesn't keep engaging when the resonance has gone. He doesn't hold on to old friendships and relationships purely due to history. He doesn't store his unspoken thoughts in the back corners of his mind because he knows everything unclean will one day ask for a home, and every suppressed emotion will eventually find expression. And if he hasn't cleared all of this, it will embed itself in his field, not out of punishment, but out of passive permission. This is why now in my life I don't chase closure, I create it. This is why I don't leave things unspoken. I speak them, I clarify them, or I release the need to do any of that. This is why I now guard my solitude, not as avoidance, but as maintenance, because solitude is the only place where I can hear my own frequency without the interference, distortion, and chaos of the outside world. And when I lose contact with that part of me, I lose contact with truth. Not the world's truth, my own truth. Here's something most men never learn. The world responds to the quality of your maintenance, not just your ambition. You can have drive, you can have discipline, but if your internal field is messy, your outer results will reflect that mess. Your relationships will be foggy and uncertain, your leadership will be reactive, your decisions will be unclear, and your creative expressions will carry static, not because you're not gifted, but because you're not clean. And I don't mean morally clean, I mean energetically clean. No lingering threads, no covert contracts, no signal leakage, just signal, structure, and presence. And when you start to live this way, you become dangerous to the world of noise because your stillness exposes their chaos, because your rhythm reminds people of their own incoherence, because your containment feels like clarity to some and confrontation to others. But it doesn't matter because you didn't do it for them. You did it to keep your own signal true. This is field maintenance. Leaving when the resonance drops, cleaning up after yourself energetically, holding rhythm through distraction, ending things before they rot, saying no before they expect a yes, keeping your signal clean enough to feel you inside of it. Now, not everyone needs this. Some men are fine, drifting between signals, playing games, orbiting others. But if you are to live as a truly sovereign man, you must become the custodian of the field you generate, not to impress, not to perform, but because you are the ground it all rests on. And when the ground is clean, everything you build becomes sacred. Welcome to The Architect Speaks.